Have you wondered why pain persists despite medications and doctor's orders? Why does each movement bring that familiar ache that's become your constant companion? Is this inevitable with age and disability, or is something missing from your routine? Most elderly and disabled individuals make a silent mistake daily, believing they've exhausted all options because conventional medicine offers limited relief. The truth nobody discusses: healing doesn't always require prescriptions or procedures. Certain readily available foods can gradually strengthen your body, reduce inflammation, and make movement less challenging. When we age or live with disability, our pain response intensifies while healing slows. However, specific foods contain compounds that subtly heal when consumed consistently. These ordinary items deliver powerful anti-inflammatory properties that work slowly but effectively until you notice reaching for medication less frequently or experiencing unusual lightness in your joints. Today, I'll reveal 10 powerful foods for anyone over 60 dealing with disability or chronic pain. None are exotic or expensive, yet they can transform your relationship with pain and mobility. Stay with me if you value independence and want more comfortable, manageable days. Before we begin, subscribe and enable notifications to receive more healing approaches that mainstream medicine rarely emphasizes. Type 1 in comments if this resonates with you, 0 if not. Your voice matters. Let's begin with our first healing food, praised for cooking versatility, but rarely recognized for its powerful pain-relieving properties. Let's discuss turmeric. Food number 1, turmeric, the golden pain reliever. Turmeric, our first healing food and nature's silent pain fighter. Its active compound, curcumin, has been whispered about for centuries as a natural anti-inflammatory. Here's the revelation, though. Although many think of turmeric as just another spice, it may be one of the most effective natural pain remedies for those over 60. You know, turmeric contains compounds that work similarly to pharmaceutical anti-inflammatories, but without the harsh side effects on your stomach and kidneys. Let me clarify. Our pain receptors become more sensitive as we age or live with disability. They no longer respond to conventional treatments in the same manner. Despite its humble appearance, turmeric provides the body with a powerful dose of natural pain-fighting compounds.
How does that work?
It inhibits numerous molecules that trigger inflammation pathways in your body. The very pathways that make your joints, muscles, and nerves scream with pain may find relief through this golden powder. As circulation improves and inflammation decreases over time, you may notice less stiffness, reduced aching, and improved mobility. You might recognize the changes gradually. That dull, persistent ache in your knees begins to subside. Standing, you feel less stiffness in your back, and your fingers suddenly move more freely, even if you've been struggling with arthritis for years. There's more. Turmeric isn't just anti-inflammatory but also antioxidant-rich. Those antioxidants can protect your cells from damage, particularly if you already have inflammation or disability. It soothes the burning that already exists in your shoulders, hips, and knees like gentle rain on smoldering coals. Some even observe that their mobility improves after consuming turmeric regularly, as if strength were gradually returning to weakened areas. You also need to be aware of something else. If you're on any medications, particularly blood thinners, turmeric may interact with certain drugs, so always consult your doctor before adding significant amounts to your diet. The most important aspect of all, however, is this: there aren't any dramatic immediate effects with turmeric. There are no quick fixes or instant relief. Rather, it works gradually until you eventually realize that you can move with less pain than you once did. The most encouraging part is that many elderly and disabled individuals are discovering that this simple spice contributes to the yearly improvements they experience in their pain levels and mobility. What can you do then? It's not necessary to consume large amounts of turmeric. However, you must be consistent and patient, particularly if you have been dealing with persistent pain or disability. The healing is subtle but genuine. Now, if this basic spice can be this beneficial for aging and disabled bodies, what about the next healing food? It is rich in healthy fats, creamy, and well known for brain health. However, it could also be your joint's best friend. Let's discuss avocados, our second food. Food number 2. Avocados, the creamy joint protector. Avocados, the unsung heroes of joint health. Smooth, rich and high in monounsaturated fats, avocados are increasingly popular. They are known for supporting heart health, providing good fats, and offering numerous vitamins. However, the situation is even more promising for elders and those with disabilities. Natural anti-inflammatory compounds and essential nutrients are abundant in avocados. This indicates that immediately after incorporating them into your diet, your body receives building blocks for cartilage repair and joint lubrication. When consumed regularly, inflammation decreases, mobility improves, and your pain begins to recede as a result. You may experience less grinding in your knees when walking or climbing stairs, reduced stiffness in your fingers when gripping objects, and improved flexibility in previously rigid joints. The story doesn't end there. Additionally, avocados contain compounds called carotenoids that specifically target tissue regeneration, especially in areas affected by arthritis. This results in stronger joint capsules, improved synovial fluid, and greater shock absorption in painful areas. The effect is gentle but cumulative. You add them to your meals, believing they're good for your heart, and indeed they are. But they're also slowly rebuilding your joint tissues. The most encouraging part comes next. It won't happen overnight. However, over time, eating avocados might make movement easier and bring noticeable pain reduction. Consider the foods on your plate. If you frequently experience stiff joints or aching limbs, avocados may become more valuable allies than they first appear. What if something even smaller can achieve similar benefits? Avocados are known for heart health, but what about tiny, vibrant superfoods that can cool the fire of inflammation? Let's discuss berries. Food number 3. Berries. Tiny fruits, mighty pain fighters. The third food, berries, small fruits, significant healing power. Blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, and raspberries appear innocent, tiny, colorful, and simple to eat as a snack. They also have an impressive reputation for being brain healthy and packed with antioxidants. However, the majority of individuals are unaware of this. Elderly and disabled people may experience notable pain relief, improved mobility, and reduced inflammation when they eat berries regularly. Why? Because berries contain anthocyanins, substances that can be powerfully healing in consistent doses. These compounds directly combat the inflammatory processes that make joint pain, muscle aches, and nerve discomfort so debilitating as we age. The actual healing begins then, particularly in the hands, knees, and lower back. Anthocyanins neutralize free radicals and reduce inflammatory markers, causing a gradual subsiding of that persistent burning and throbbing ache, that nagging pain that makes even light activity difficult. Have you ever noticed that morning stiffness that seems to improve slightly on days after you've eaten berries? That unexpected flexibility in your fingers that wasn't there before? It may be something as simple as a handful of berries working their quiet magic. Furthermore, it doesn't end there. Berries also supply vital nutrients that support tissue repair. This means more resilient cartilage, improved nerve function, and reduced pressure on painful areas. Berries are also perfectly portioned by nature. They satisfy sweet cravings without triggering inflammation. Before you realize it, though, you've received a powerful dose of healing compounds. Therefore, even while berries might seem like a simple pleasure, they can subtly increase mobility, improve flexibility, and make your body more comfortable as you navigate disability or aging. You now know what can be hidden behind that sweet tart flavor. If you've been struggling with chronic pain and stiffness but haven't made berries a daily habit, you might be missing a gentle yet effective ally. But there are other healing foods besides berries. Another is warm, aromatic, and renowned for its ability to soothe. Don't be fooled by its simplicity. It works deep within to calm pain signals. Let's discuss ginger. Food number 4. Ginger, the ancient pain soother. The fourth food is ginger, the honored inflammation fighter. Ginger is spicy, warming, and has been used for millennia in traditional healing practices worldwide. Is it possible that this common root could genuinely help with the persistent pain of aging and disability? Isn't that surprising, since many consider ginger just a flavor enhancer or upset stomach remedy? It seems familiar, has a distinctive taste, and is readily available. Here's the secret, though. Ginger contains powerful compounds called gingerols that directly inhibit inflammatory pathways. This indicates that it naturally reduces pain signals, much like certain medications, but without the side effects. Let's examine how it works. Your body's inflammatory response becomes more easily triggered as you age or live with disability. However, the compounds in ginger help regulate this process. Inflammation results in pain, stiffness, and reduced mobility. The gingerols in ginger target these very pathways. Where does relief appear? Your back, your hips, your knees. Joint pain may diminish after consistent use, a noticeable reduction in morning stiffness, that curious improvement in grip strength and finger dexterity. Climbing stairs begins to feel less like scaling a mountain. Ginger has a warming quality that seems to penetrate deep into painful areas, though it acts like a gentle but persistent healer, gradually improving your comfort level. Most people only use small amounts since it's potent and flavorful. A small piece becomes a daily habit, then a relief you can count on. Add more healing, more mobility, reduce discomfort. It's straightforward. You incorporate it into teas or cooking, but your pain signaling system is being positively altered with each dose. Does ginger actually help elderly and disabled individuals manage pain, or does each serving subtly increase your ability to move with greater ease? It might be time to reconsider if the ginger in your kitchen cabinet could become your new ally if your joints and muscles have been feeling increasingly restricted and painful. Let's move on to a food that is associated with protein and strength. The foundation of muscle maintenance, tissue repair, and pain reduction. Elderly and disabled individuals, however, may find it offers surprising benefits beyond basic nutrition. Let's discuss fatty fish. Food number 5, fatty fish, the omega pain reducer. Fatty fish is the fifth food, the ocean's gift to painful joints. They're nutritious, they're satisfying, and they're also rich in compounds that directly combat pain: salmon, mackerel, sardines, and trout. They are known to support heart health because of omega-3 fatty acids. However, fatty fish may be hiding a remarkable benefit for elders and those with disabilities, particularly those over 60 struggling with chronic pain. Behind that distinctive flavor lies powerful anti-inflammatory action that your aching body craves. Omega-3 fatty acids are abundant in fatty fish. Even though that might seem like common knowledge, these compounds can significantly reduce joint inflammation, particularly if your body is already battling stiffness, reduced mobility, or nerve pain. When you incorporate them regularly, you may experience a gradual loosening in your knees, persistent shoulder pain that becomes less intrusive. That uncomfortable sensation in your hands after activity becomes less limiting, increased range of motion, and decreased reliance on pain medication. You might assume it's simply coincidence. However, that consistent habit of eating fatty fish twice weekly can be transforming your pain experience. The therapeutic effects extend beyond joints. Omega-3s benefit nerve health as well. They help rebuild the protective myelin sheath around nerves and reduce nerve inflammation. And what's the result of that? Less tingling, burning, and shooting pain that often accompanies neuropathy and other nerve conditions common in elderly and disabled individuals. Every forkful delivers compounds that work where pain originates. You see, fatty fish may seem like just another protein source. However, the effect develops meaningfully in an elderly or disabled person with compromised mobility and persistent pain. The most significant aspect is that you're consuming it with the understanding that you're not just feeding yourself, you're actively participating in your pain management. But what comes next? Food number 6, saffron, the golden nerve healer. Our sixth powerful food is saffron, the precious golden thread of pain relief. Often seen as merely a luxury spice for special dishes, few realize that saffron contains compounds that specifically target nerve pain and chronic discomfort. What most elderly and disabled individuals don't understand is that this delicate crimson spice isn't just for flavor. It's a powerful neurological healer that works gradually but effectively where pharmaceutical interventions sometimes fail. Saffron contains crocin and safranal, two compounds that have been studied for their remarkable ability to modulate pain perception in our nervous systems. When we age or live with disability, nerve damage often becomes a primary source of ongoing discomfort. The burning, tingling, shooting pains that seem to come from nowhere. Saffron begins to address these at their source. You might notice the changes subtly. That persistent burning along your sciatic nerve begins to quiet. The tingling in your fingertips becomes less intrusive. The sharp pains that shoot through your feet when you first stand up in the morning slowly diminish in intensity. What makes saffron particularly valuable is its dual action. While it calms overactive pain signals, it simultaneously supports nerve regeneration. This means it's not just masking pain, but potentially helping to restore proper nerve function over time. Those with diabetic neuropathy, post-stroke pain, or nerve damage from injury may find that consistent consumption gradually restores sensation where numbness once dominated, or reduces hypersensitivity where touch once felt like fire. The process is gentle and progressive. A pinch of saffron in warm milk before bed, or incorporated into a weekly rice dish, delivers these compounds to your system in small, manageable doses. Unlike medications that often come with immediate side effects, saffron works quietly, building its presence in your system until you realize one day that movements that once caused you to wince now flow more easily. But here's what you need to know. Quality matters tremendously with saffron. The purest, highest-grade saffron contains more of these healing compounds. A little goes a long way, making even expensive saffron an accessible option for pain management. If persistent nerve pain has been limiting your mobility or disrupting your sleep, this ancient spice might offer the gentle support your nervous system has been seeking. Now, if a delicate spice like saffron can provide this level of relief, what about a common kitchen staple that most of us have in our pantries right now? A simple food that works specifically on muscle pain and recovery. Let's talk about our seventh healing food. Oats. Food number: oats, the muscle recovery miracle. Our seventh food is oats, the unsung hero of muscle strength and recovery. Most people see oats as simply a heart-healthy breakfast option, or a fiber-rich food for digestive health. But for elderly and disabled individuals dealing with chronic pain, oats offer something far more valuable. A perfect balance of nutrients that specifically support muscle repair, reduce inflammation, and provide sustained energy without painful sugar spikes. What makes oats particularly beneficial is their unique composition of slow-releasing carbohydrates, complete proteins, and anti-inflammatory compounds called avenanthramides. These specialized molecules directly target the inflammation that makes muscles ache after use, particularly in aging bodies or those dealing with disability. The persistent soreness in your shoulders after using mobility aids, that deep ache in your thighs after minimal activity, the general weakness that makes every movement feel like a struggle. Oats begin to address these issues at a cellular level. Here's what happens. When consumed regularly, those avenanthramides begin to accumulate in your system, gradually reducing the inflammatory response that makes movement painful. Meanwhile, the balanced proteins provide the building blocks needed for muscle repair, helping to maintain strength that might otherwise diminish with age or limited mobility. You might notice that tasks which once left you exhausted and in pain for days afterward now cause less discomfort. Getting out of bed might feel less like a monumental effort, or you might find yourself able to engage in physical therapy or exercise for longer periods before fatigue sets in. But oats offer another critical benefit for those in pain: stable energy. Unlike foods that cause rapid blood sugar fluctuations, which can intensify pain perception, oats provide a steady, sustained release of energy. This means fewer energy crashes that leave you vulnerable to increased pain and more consistent strength throughout the day. For those whose pain worsens with fatigue, this aspect alone can significantly improve quality of life. The key is consistency and preparation. Steel-cut or rolled oats retain more of these beneficial compounds than instant varieties. A warm bowl in the morning, perhaps enhanced with anti-inflammatory additions like cinnamon or berries, becomes not just breakfast, but a therapeutic intervention. Over weeks and months, this simple habit may translate to muscles that recover more efficiently, movements that flow more easily, and a body that feels more capable despite age or disability. If something as humble as oats can offer this support to painful, weakened muscles, what might other overlooked foods do? Let's explore our 8th healing food, one that specifically targets bone health and the deep, persistent pain that comes from skeletal weakness: almonds. Food number 8. Almonds, the bone pain defender. Almonds, our 8th healing food, are nature's answer to bone pain. These unassuming nuts are often recommended for heart health or as a protein-rich snack, but their true power for elderly and disabled individuals lies in their remarkable bone-supporting nutrients. Within each almond is a concentrated package of calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and vitamin E. Precisely the nutrients that aging or compromised bone tissue requires to maintain strength and reduce pain. Here's what makes almonds particularly valuable. They contain a specific form of magnesium that helps regulate calcium metabolism in bones. For those experiencing the deep, persistent ache of osteoporosis, the gnawing discomfort of bone-related conditions, or the fragility that makes fractures a constant worry, almonds provide critical building blocks that conventional pain management often overlooks. When consumed consistently, you might notice that the deep, boring pain in your hips or spine becomes less dominant in your daily experience. Standing might feel more secure. The bone-deep ache in your wrists when gripping objects may diminish, and the general feeling of skeletal fragility might slowly give way to a sense of greater stability. What's particularly valuable about almonds is their dual action on both bone density and inflammation. The vitamin E in almonds specifically targets the inflammation that often surrounds damaged or weakened bone tissue, while the mineral content supports the actual repair and maintenance of the bone itself. It's like addressing both the pain and its underlying cause simultaneously, but through gentle nutritional support rather than pharmaceutical intervention. The process happens gradually. A small handful of almonds daily, about 15-20 nuts, provides these compounds consistently without overwhelming your system. Unlike calcium supplements that can sometimes cause digestive issues, the calcium in almonds comes packaged with complementary nutrients that improve absorption and utilization. You're not just consuming isolated nutrients, you're providing your body with a balanced formula for bone support. For those whose mobility has been limited by bone pain, whose nights are interrupted by deep skeletal discomfort, or whose confidence has been undermined by fracture concerns, almonds represent a simple yet powerful addition to daily habits. They're portable, require no preparation, and can be incorporated into meals or eaten as a standalone snack. Each almond becomes a small investment in your skeletal strength, gradually shifting your experience away from pain and toward greater stability. But what about foods that specifically target joint health? The sliding, gliding surfaces that often become the most painful aspects of aging or disability. Let's discuss our 9th healing food, which has been shown to directly impact joint lubrication and comfort: pomegranates. Food number 9. Pomegranates, the ruby joint protector. The 9th food in our healing lineup is pomegranates, the crimson guardians of joint mobility. Most people appreciate pomegranates for their antioxidant content or their bright, tangy flavor. Few realize, however, that these ruby fruits contain specific compounds that directly target joint health, particularly for elderly and disabled individuals dealing with the relentless discomfort of worn cartilage, inflamed synovial tissue, and stiffened joint capsules. Pomegranates contain a powerful combination of compounds called punicalagins and anthocyanins that do something remarkable. They inhibit the enzymes that break down cartilage. This matters tremendously because once cartilage deteriorates, conventional medicine offers limited options for regeneration. For those experiencing the grinding sensation of bone-on-bone contact, the persistent ache after even minimal joint use, or the morning stiffness that seems to steal hours from each day, pomegranates offer gentle but cumulative protection against further deterioration. But their benefits extend beyond preservation. The punicic acid in pomegranate seeds has been shown to reduce inflammatory markers specifically associated with joint conditions like rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. This means less heat, less swelling, and gradually less pain in affected joints. You might notice that your hands feel more flexible when buttoning clothes, your knees protest less when rising from a chair, or your ankles support your weight more comfortably during short walks. These changes aren't immediate transformations, but rather subtle shifts toward greater comfort and capability. What makes pomegranates particularly valuable is their comprehensive approach to joint health. While they reduce inflammation and protect existing cartilage, they simultaneously improve circulation to joint tissues, ensuring better delivery of nutrients and removal of inflammatory waste products. It's like providing your joints with both protection and the resources needed for natural repair processes. Consuming pomegranates consistently, even just a quarter cup of seeds or a small glass of pure juice several times weekly, allows these compounds to accumulate in your system. The healing builds gradually, often becoming noticeable only when you realize you're reaching for pain medication less frequently, or that activities which once caused days of discomfort now leave you relatively comfortable. For elderly or disabled individuals whose independence and quality of life are directly tied to joint function, this gentle support can make a meaningful difference in daily experience. If pomegranates can provide this specialized support for joints, what about a food that addresses whole-body inflammation at its source? Let's explore our 10th and final healing food, one that works systematically throughout the body to reduce the inflammatory processes that underlie so much chronic pain: walnuts. Food number 10. Walnuts, the omega brain pain connection. Our 10th and final healing food is walnuts, the remarkable brain-shaped nut that creates a powerful connection between cognitive health and pain relief. Most people know walnuts as heart-healthy food or recognize their resemblance to the human brain. What's less understood is how walnuts specifically benefit elderly and disabled individuals experiencing chronic pain through a unique mechanism. They simultaneously support brain health and reduce systemic inflammation. Walnuts contain an optimal ratio of omega-3 fatty acids, particularly alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, which the body partially converts to the same beneficial compounds found in fatty fish. These compounds directly influence how the brain processes pain signals. For those experiencing the persistent ache of chronic conditions, the radiating discomfort of neuropathy, or the exhausting weight of constant pain, walnuts help modulate these signals at their source, in the central nervous system itself. Here's where walnuts differ from many other foods. They work on both the perception of pain and its underlying causes. The anti-inflammatory compounds reduce actual tissue inflammation throughout the body, while the brain-supporting nutrients help regulate how intensely pain is experienced. You might notice that pain which once dominated your consciousness becomes less intrusive, that you're able to focus on activities despite discomfort, or that the constant background ache that has become your unwanted companion seems less persistent. What makes walnuts particularly valuable for elderly and disabled individuals is their impact on brain health more broadly. The same nutrients that help regulate pain perception also support cognitive function, potentially reducing the brain fog and confusion that often accompany chronic pain or result from pain medications. This dual action means you're not just addressing pain, but supporting overall brain health, a critical factor in maintaining independence and quality of life as you age or navigate disability. The implementation is simple. Just 7 walnuts daily provides a therapeutic dose of these beneficial compounds. You can incorporate them into meals, add them to smoothies, or simply enjoy them as a satisfying snack. Unlike prescription pain medications that often lose effectiveness over time or cause increasing side effects, walnuts maintain their benefits with consistent consumption, potentially allowing for reduced reliance on pharmaceutical interventions. For those whose days have been defined by pain, whose independence has been limited by discomfort, or whose enjoyment of life has been diminished by constant aching, this simple nut represents a gentle but meaningful addition to pain management strategies. Each walnut becomes a small investment in both comfort and cognitive clarity, a dual benefit that few other interventions can claim. Bringing it all together, your path to gradual relief. As we've explored these 10 remarkable foods, turmeric, avocados, berries, ginger, fatty fish, saffron, oats, almonds, pomegranates, and walnuts, a powerful truth emerges. Healing doesn't have to be dramatic or immediate to be transformative. For elderly and disabled individuals living with chronic pain, these foods offer something perhaps more valuable than quick relief. They provide sustainable, gentle support that works with your body's natural processes rather than overriding them. The approach is simple but profound. Incorporate these foods consistently in reasonable amounts, understanding that their benefits accumulate gradually. Unlike the all-or-nothing mentality that often accompanies pain management, this nutritional approach allows for flexibility, personalization, and integration with other strategies you may already be using. You're not replacing medical care, you're complementing it with nutritional support targeted specifically at the underlying causes of pain. Consider creating weekly meal plans that incorporate several of these foods each day. Perhaps begin your morning with oats topped with berries and walnuts. Enjoy a lunch that includes fatty fish and turmeric, and prepare dinners with avocado and ginger. Carry almonds as a portable snack. Sip green tea throughout the day, and occasionally treat yourself to pomegranate seeds or a saffron-infused beverage. These simple habits, maintained consistently, may gradually shift your experience of pain from dominating to manageable. The most beautiful aspect of this approach is its cumulative nature. Each day you incorporate these foods, you're not just addressing today's pain, but investing in tomorrow's comfort. The anti-inflammatory compounds, the tissue-supporting nutrients, the pain-modulating elements, all of these work subtly but persistently to change your body's relationship with pain. Weeks become months, and gradually you may find yourself experiencing more good days than difficult ones. For those whose lives have been constrained by pain, whose independence has been threatened by disability, or whose aging has been defined more by limitation than by wisdom and experience, these 10 foods represent not a miracle cure, but something perhaps more valuable, a pathway to gradual, sustainable improvement. Each meal becomes an opportunity for healing, each snack a small step toward greater comfort and capability. Remember that this journey is personal and unique. Some foods may provide more noticeable benefits than others based on your specific conditions and body chemistry. Pay attention to your experiences, perhaps keeping a simple journal to track which foods seem most beneficial for your particular pain patterns. This personalized awareness allows you to refine your approach over time, focusing on the combinations that serve you best. As you incorporate these foods into your life, remember that you're not just addressing symptoms, but supporting your body's innate healing capabilities. You're providing the nutritional foundation that allows for repair, regeneration, and resilience, qualities that remain important at every age and in every condition. This isn't about reversing time or eliminating disability. It's about living with greater comfort and capability within your circumstances. And perhaps most importantly, this approach returns a measure of control to your hands. In a journey often marked by dependence on others, doctors, caregivers, medication schedules, these simple food choices represent decisions you can make for yourself, actions you can take independently, and healing you can initiate on your own terms. Each time you choose turmeric instead of processed food, berries instead of sugar-laden alternatives, or walnuts instead of empty calories, you're actively participating in your own care rather than passively receiving it. This is the quiet power of these 10 healing foods, not that they work miracles overnight, but that they offer sustainable support, personal empowerment, and the gentle accumulation of benefits that can, over time, transform how you experience life in your body. And that transformation, however gradual, is nothing short of profound when pain has been your constant companion.